Hello, today is the anniversary of the death in 1945 of Dmitri Shostakovich, the Russian composer who lived during the communist era in Russia, and he had very ambivalent feelings towards it. He had to go along with it in order to continue to have his works published, but deep down he opposed it and felt that this totalitarianism was reducing people's freedom and individuality. And he wrote this symphony as a kind of protest. Initially, it was published as a protest against Hitler's fascism. But those who knew him and could read between the lines knew that it was also a protest against Stalin's communist totalitarianism. And this piece of music, the Seventh Symphony, was performed in Leningrad on this, interestingly, on this very same day too, but in 1942, in the middle of the siege of Leningrad. The Germans had invaded and were besieging the city, and the siege lasted for some 2 years and 4.5 months, during which the populace was completely cut off. 500,000 people died, and there was enormous deprivation, starvation, people struggling just to stay alive. And this orchestra that performed this work on this day in 1942 was made up of people like that, people who were really struggling, who had no doubt got members of their family who died, they themselves were probably desperately hungry, and they performed this piece of music as a protest, as a way of saying, we are not going to be overcome by this army that's besieging us. And they made their point particularly powerfully by having loudspeakers erected at the boundaries of the city and have this performance of the music played out through these loudspeakers, so the Germans could hear it and could know that they were saying, in effect, you are not going to defeat us. And today I want to just remember all those who live under totalitarian regimes, of which there are many. George Orwell, in his novel 1984, puts into the words of one of the characters a very good definition of totalitarianism. He says it's like a jackboot stamping on someone's face. It is a complete denial of the freedom of the individual to think and sometimes to behave as they feel they should. It is totally, as the name implies, totally controlling people. And I want to remember today those who very bravely and often at great cost stand up against this totalitarianism and who are followers of that brave orchestra who performed that piece of music as their way of protesting. And so today let's call to mind all those who with bravery and courage, conviction and perseverance stand up against totalitarian regimes.